Hello, my kingdom kids. I miss y'all so much. I cannot believe that it's been a couple of weeks since we've seen each other. I've been thinking about y'all. I'm praying for y'all. I'm praying for this situation in America to just kind of take a halt on things so we can get back to our normalcy and we can get back together because I miss y'all so much. What we're gonna do is through the weeks, since we're not gonna be at church, I still want to have Sunday school. I still think that it's important, and I want to be able to talk to y'all, and I want to help y'all grow in God's Word and learn more. I still have these great lessons that I'm lining up for y'all. So what we're going to do is every week I'm going to try my best to get supplies to you. These supplies will be for crafts or for things that go along with the story that we do, you know, how we do in class. We do different little things to kind of put the story together. I will try to get as much as I possibly can of that. If I need your parents or somebody to kind of help out, I'll get in touch with them. But starting next Sunday, I will get together some stuff and I will make sure that you get it Saturday. By Saturday, you get it so that Sunday, when I send my Sunday school video, you'll have your stuff and you'll be ready to learn. So today, or tonight, sorry, all that we're going to do is we're going to kind of go over what we've learned these past few weeks that we have been on this new book. Excuse my appearance, by the way. This is not Sunday school, Miss Dana. This is very tired and ready to get back out into the world, Miss Dana. But we're going to make it through. So the first thing that we learned was that God is creative, so we are creative. This is our very first lesson that we've been going over 4 weeks ago. So a month ago we went over this. God is creative, so we are creative. We are made in His image, and He made the plants, He made the animals, He made land, He made the sea, and He made one of the biggest things. He made us. And so God is creative, which makes us creative. He has given us each something that we are just amazing at, and we kind of went over that in class. Some things that we thought that we were pretty good at, and some things we thought we might not be as good at, but it does not matter because we are His child and we are made in His image. So, okay. So the second thing that we went over was God is the greatest and we don't need to be. So in Genesis 11, remember how people wanted to build a tower to put the focus more on them instead of on God. And we built newspaper towers in our classroom. And do you remember what God did when they were building that tower? He changed their language. He changed their language where they all spoke completely different things and they couldn't understand each other. So they eventually just kind of gave up building the tower and they went their separate ways. So God is the greatest. We don't need to be. We don't need to try to be way up here and put God way down here. Okay? So the other thing we went over is God is giving, so we're giving. This is whenever we had the room divided. I know some of y'all weren't there that day. The room was divided, and one side of the room had lights and had a bigger area to sit in, and we had snacks and drinks. And the other side of the room was small, and it didn't have any snacks or drinks. and we had to choose together who was going to get what side, which actually y'all made it a pretty easy choice. So, God is giving, so we're giving. The whole story behind that was about Abram and his nephew Lot. Abram was older than Lot, but Abram let Lot decide which part of the land he wanted first. Because remember, they had so much cattle together. God had blessed them so much with food and cattle and just everything, that they had so much that they had to kind of separate and get some space. So Abram told Lot, okay, you can choose which side that you want. And do y'all remember what Lot chose? Lot chose the beautiful side. He looked over at this gorgeous pasture-like place, and he said, wow, this is so beautiful. I can plant stuff here, and my cattle will be great here. And it had everything that you would need to build on. So Abram did not fight him. Abram went the other way, to a land that was not very good if you looked at it. It didn't have things that the nice land had that could help them with cattle or help them with plants or anything. So, but Abram trusted God because God gave him everything that he had to begin with, and God promised him way before this that he was going to bless him. So, we know what God did. God blessed them. And the lot that Abram had it turned out to be a very, very great land that, I shouldn't say a lot. It came out to be a very great land that Abram got to have when Lot chose the one that was supposedly greater. So God is giving, so we're giving, and we're supposed to give every day, whether that's helping somebody, helping your mom in the kitchen, helping sweep, helping clean your room, helping with the dogs, helping with anything, or just giving some time to just sit down and listen to people. Have you ever just sat there and listened, just had a conversation with your mom or your friends or your sisters, brothers, if you have one, and just really listen to them, what they had to say about things that might be going on with them, and letting them know that you love them and praying for them. So we can give in so many ways, and God is giving, so we're giving. The last thing that we talked about is how God doesn't change, so we trust Him when we're unsure. And this one hit me hard because this is the very last lesson that we went over before we ended up having to kind of go online with our services. We trust Him when we're unsure. We don't know how this coronavirus is going to play out. We don't know when we will be able to get back into church and fellowshipping together and being together and being able to hug all of you. And we don't know when we'll be able to do that, but we know it's coming. So let's talk about this for a little bit. I wrote more. I have notes. I wrote more on this because since this is the last one that we went over, I know some of y'all weren't able to make it there either, so we're just going to kind of go over this one more time. God doesn't change, so we trust Him when we're unsure. We talked about Moses and the burning bush. Moses was walking along, and he saw this bush that was on fire, and he kind of got confused by it a little bit because the bush was on fire, but it wasn't burning up. He saw flames coming from it, but it was still a very much alive bush. So he walks over toward it and he's looking at it and he's kind of inspecting it a little bit, and God speaks to him through the burning bush. And God tells him basically to take off his shoes because he is on holy ground. He is talking to the one and only God. So God asked Moses to go to the Pharaoh or the king in Egypt. And basically, Moses was to go and to tell the king that he wanted the Israelites to be freed from being slaves. They treated them very, very badly in Egypt, and it was not a good place at all for them to be. So Moses was supposed to go talk to the Pharaoh or king about freeing them. And Moses had a speech problem, so whenever God asked him to go to the king and speak, Moses really didn't want to do it because he couldn't talk very well. So this is the beginning of the story about Moses choosing Joshua to lead because he was getting older. Remember, we talked about how he chose Joshua by putting his hands on his head. And Joshua took over once Moses passed away, and he led the people to Jericho. We know about Jericho. We talked about that a while back. They marched around for days, and then on the last day, the last round that they marched, they blew their horns, they shouted, and the walls fell down. So, this story about Moses going to the Pharaoh is way before that. This is the very, very beginning of that whole thing. So, Moses was supposed to free the Israelites by talking to the king. And when the Israelites were going to ask Moses, well, who sent you to save us? He was to say, I am. And in class, we kind of talked about how silly of a name that is. I am. We don't hear somebody say, oh, well, my name is I am. But, you know, God told Moses when they asked, if they asked, who sent him, to tell him, I am. Sent him to free him. So the Israelites knew God as the name Yahweh. I don't know. Do any of y'all remember what Yahweh means? We kind of rushed through it this last time that we met together. Yahweh means Lord. So the Israelites already knew God as Yahweh or Lord. But when Moses was going to go to him and they asked, who sent you? He wasn't going to say Yahweh. He was going to say, I am sent me. And he is. He is I am. I have this mosquito in this room. Okay, so he is and always will be. He never, ever, ever changes. He doesn't change, and we can trust him when we're unsure. So, let's talk a little bit more about this really, really quick. God gave Moses 4 signs. He gave him 1 sign with the burning bush. But he gave him 3 more signs in case the Israelites basically didn't believe him, and kind of also to help Moses know just what God is capable of doing through you. I mean, Moses was so nervous to go to the Pharaoh and talk to him, but God was also showing Moses, you know, I got you. I'm right here with you, and I'm going to get you through this. I can do anything. I am. So, the 4 signs that he gave Moses was the burning bush. He also told Moses to take his staff that he was holding and to lay it on the ground. And when he laid it on the ground, it turned into a snake. and he told Moses to pick it up by the tail, and when he picked it up by the tail, it turned back into his staff. Another thing that he did, he changed his hand. He told him to put it inside his cloak, and whenever he pulled his hand out, it was kind of diseased. It was like leprous, and it was really, really white, like white as snow. And whenever he put his hand back into his cloak and pulled out his hand, it came out to be his hand again, like it looked before that. But the last thing that he did, he told Moses to get some water out of the Nile and to pour it on the dry ground. And when Moses got the water, poured it on the ground, the water turned to blood. So, he had the burning bush, staff and snake, and the hand, and the water to blood. So those are the 4 things that he did to kind of help show just how powerful he is, but also to give Moses some things to show the people if they weren't so very sure on him. So, next Sunday is a special day. It is called Palm Sunday. We will be learning about Jesus being our King. I will get everything that you need for our lesson. I will get all of that plus your take-home papers sent to you by Saturday. So this is the day that Jesus and his disciples enter into Jerusalem, and the crowds spread palm branches and their robes on the road. As Jesus is coming along, they spread it out on his path, and they shout and sing praises to him, and they're shouting to him saying that he is the King. So next Sunday we will dig into that and we will learn more about that. But yes, be in prayer. Be in prayer for the world. Be in prayer for our church. Be in prayer. Be in prayer for our families. Just be in prayer for everything that's going on right now. And I'm praying so much for you guys. And we love you so much, me and Lily. And we miss y'all. And I sure miss my hugs. And I miss my silly answers I get from questions from y'all. So, but yeah, I will check in with you guys, and I will see you as best as I can on this video. I will see you guys Sunday, next Sunday. And also, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to ask you to do some stuff next Sunday, and I would really, really like if your parents could send me a picture of your things that you create, because otherwise I don't get to see them. I usually get to see them in class, and it makes me really happy. So I will make one too, and I might even throw in Lily to make one, and I will show you guys that while we're doing our video. But yeah, I love y'all and I miss y'all, and I'm praying.